how many of you have gone to parties or drank or know somebody that has drank. And today I'm going to talk to you guys about DUIs and kind of some of the things that you go through after a DUI. Just last Labor Day weekend in LA, there was 3,106 DUI arrests just in LA. That's not even including any of the other places, and that was according to the California Office of Traffic Safety. And I know that many of you have been told that getting a DUI is bad and that you shouldn't drink and drive and you should find somebody else to drive for you, but I kind of wanted to go through what happens after you get a DUI and what kind of things you go through so you can better decide what to do instead of drinking and driving. So right now I wanted to share with you a little story of my own because I got my first DUI about 6 months ago. I was going to a club in LA and I was with a couple of friends and I was the one who was driving. So I'm under 21. We went up there and we got drinks before we went and we drank and we went in and we parked and we went into the club. We got there about 10 o'clock at night. We stayed till about 2 o'clock in the morning. So we get out of the club and there's a hot dog stand. And it's the bacon wrapped hot dogs and those are my favorite. I really, really wanted one. And I was like, well, you know, I'm not feeling too drunk or anything, and if I eat a hot dog, maybe I'll be even better, you know. I'll have food in my system, I won't be so bad. So I get a hot dog, and we get in the car, and I'm like, okay, you know, I'm good to drive, I can do it. We went to the club already, and I've sobered up now, I have a hot dog, I'm good to go. So then I pull out of the parking lot, and I was like, man, I don't really remember how we got here. Like, I'm not sure how to get to the freeway from here. I remember driving there, obviously, but I don't remember the directions. So my friend in the back is like, oh, you know, I remember, I'll tell you. And I was like, okay, so I go and I make a right out of the club, and he goes, okay, make a left on the first street. And so I get over, and there's 2 cops right there on motorcycles, and he goes, oh, no, this is the wrong street, you have to turn on the next one. And I was like, okay, no problem. So I put my blinker on, and I get over into the lane, and I pass the light, and then I see in my rearview mirror those blue and red lights shining. I was so scared. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting pulled over, but you know, maybe he won't notice, maybe it was just for something stupid. So I pull over, he comes up to the car, and he tells me that he pulled me over for swerving. So he asked me if I had been drinking, and he has my ID in his hand, so I'm like, no, you know, I'm under 21, I haven't been drinking. So he shines this light in my eyes, and he goes, your eyes look a little bit watery to me, I'm going to have you perform some tests. So he asked me to step out of the car, I have to walk a straight line, I have to put my hand on my nose and stand on one leg, and I have to count to like 30, and so I do all the tests for him, and he's like, okay, well, you know, you did average on the test, but I have to give you a breathalyzer now. And I was like, oh, well, this is it, because I know that I have been drinking. So I do the breathalyzer, and I blew a .09, which is above the legal limit for people who are 21, and I was under 21. So either way, I was going to have to go to jail. So he tells me that he's going to take me to the office down there, and so I go down there, and he does the fingerprints, and he takes my picture and everything like that. And then I'm waiting there, and he's like, okay, well, the sobering up for this is about 3 hours, and it's already, you know, 11, 12 at night, and he says, we don't house women overnight, so you're going to have to go up to Van Nuys. They drive me up to Van Nuys, and I have to stay in jail there for about 8 hours. So today I wanted to go over a few things that happened to me after I got my DUI, which are the fines, the classes, and how long it stays on your record for. This way you guys can better understand it and make better decisions when you're thinking about drinking and driving or having a friend who's going to drink and drive. So the first one was the fines that I had to pay. When you get a DUI, you have to go to court for it, and there's fines for actually getting the DUI. Those together amounted to about $1,707. And I don't know about most of you guys, but I didn't have $1,707 just laying around to pay for a DUI. So for that, I'm going to have to save up and pay it. I luckily got an attorney, and I'm going to be able to have a year to pay it off, but it still is a big hassle. You have to pick up extra shifts, and not only that, but I have other bills to pay for, and I know you guys do as well. So there's that, and usually with a DUI, they have to impound your car, so you have to pay the impound fees. I was lucky enough to not have them impound it. They were nice enough to drive it down to the station and park it out front, but in most cases you do, and it's about $150 for the impound, and then it's about $50 a night. It has to stay there 3 days. So you're looking about $300 just to get your car out of the impound. The second thing that I want to talk to you now that I talked to you about the fines are the classes that you would have to take when you get a DUI. First, you have to take a MAD class, which is Mothers Against Drunk Driving. That's about $30 for the class. It's just one night. You go down there and you have to listen to a couple speakers talk about their experiences. There was one lady that really stood out to me. She had her mom and her dad went to dinner one night. It was just a regular night for her, and she was feeling sick, so she stayed home. She didn't want to go. So about maybe 10 or 11 at night, she gets the police at her door saying that both her parents had been killed in a car accident because a drunk driver had hit them. That made me so sad. I was like, oh my gosh, I could have hit somebody, I could have done any of that, and it would have been so much worse. I don't know what I would do without both my parents. So not only that, but you also have to take alcohol classes or education classes on alcohol or AA. Those are about $530 for the classes. I was assigned 3 months. It could be more if you're assigned more months. So you have to go to that about once a week, and you have to sit and listen for 2 hours to the instructor talk to you about DUIs and what happens and how it affects you and your brain, and not only, you know, certain parts of your body, but everything. So after that, I want to talk to you about your record and how long it stays on your record for. It stays on for your record for about 10 years. You can ask for an expungement after 10 years, which means that it won't be on your record anymore and nobody can see it. So if they do a background check, you won't see it. But if you do get a second DUI, it counts as your second, and you have to go through that whole process. It wouldn't count as your first. So after that, expungement, so after 10 years you can ask for the expungement, but you're not even granted to get it. They don't have to give it to you. They can just do it if you want. And that also affects you if you're applying for a job before the 10 years, it is on your record. And I met a girl in Van Nuys when I was sitting in the jail with her, and she said, you know, I just got pulled over on the freeway for speeding, but they got her for a DUI, and she was just about to take her state nursing test. And I don't know if you guys know, but to be a nurse, you can't have anything on your record. So it was really sad to see her go through so much school and pay for so much, yet now she can't even do what she wanted to do because she got a DUI. So overall, I hope that you guys now know that getting a DUI is really not worth it. I know that it's not worth it. It wasn't worth the money. It's not worth the time. You have to go through a lot to get it done, and it really hurts your family members. I still remember telling my mom that I got it, and I cried, and the look in her eye was just so sad. She was so disappointed, like so supportful, and I know many families aren't like that, but I was just so glad that she was there for me. And you know what friends you have, but it's still not worth it, and she just doesn't look at me the same since she knows that, yeah, I was drinking, and I'm not who she thought I was. So I hope that you guys can now make better decisions about drinking and driving.
It was funny. It just reminded me. I mean, like, he's even all that. Well, he didn't probably, like, things you couldn't do when you're sober.
All right, Tanya, I guess it's just up to me. You know what? Let me stop this a second.